Right, I've got some coffee. Let's do some news. First up, we've got Money Goblin Zelensky, who is now posting Twitter videos as if you would a advert on FreeCycle. You know, I'm looking for bunk beds for my kids. We are looking for air defense systems to protect Odessa and the entire south of Ukraine, which is an enormous body of land. This guy, he gets me every day. I've not done a video because his voice makes me want to boil out my own earlobes, but you know, he. Up next, we've got this really interesting piece of news about the Russian African Forum, where a drone countermeasure system called a SIRP or SICKLE was presented, which is capable of simultaneously fight a whole swarm of drones within a radius of 5 kilometres. This is a vital change to the infrastructure of air defence as drones become more and more prevalent, in war. So this is really fantastic. Designed to combat small drones without human intervention, protects both stationary and mobile objects. So I think that this is a really, really interesting piece of news to have come out of the Russia-Africa Forum. The fencer who I posted about yesterday, who won after a Ukrainian refused to shake her hand, has been receiving mass threats on social media and has had to turn her phone off. Anna's probably very young, and this has nothing to do with her. This is a Ukrainian refusing to shake the hand of a competitor and being banned from a competition because that is against the rules. It's nothing to do with the Russian, okay? And that people can so quickly attack a young woman in this way just shows the sort of brain-dead mindset of the people that we're dealing with currently in world politics. Shoigu is in North Korea, and how happy does Kim look? Bless him. They attended a military demonstration. It all looked pretty fly, to be honest, and he left. He left with a nice big crowd, lots of clapping, and a big old smile on his face. So that's cool. Like, I'm glad for North Korea. I think that they deserve a bit of positive press, really. Never caused me any harm. Go on, guys. To the contrary, the Western media are actually now talking about how hard hit South Korea in particular has been by this microchip attack that we've seen. The worst is over for the global chip market. So Samsung announced plans to extend production cuts as demand recovery is still constrained. A semiconductor downturn that led the South Korean firm to post a record operating loss of $7 billion from its core chip business in the first 6 months of the year. This really skirts around the fact that the reason for these losses is because the Americans have forced sanctions on South Korea and China, forced sanctions on China through South Korea in the selling of these chips, which has caused the South Korean economy to tank. Just another way that the great old US of A supports its allies, I suppose. So they've stabilised, but they're still in downturn, seems to be what's going on. This is quite an interesting one from Reuters, which talks about obscure traders which are shipping oil to India and China after sanctions. And essentially what it discusses is that these little-known firms have popped up to transport oil, probably because larger companies don't feel comfortable doing so. And obviously smaller companies can easily be dissolved and simply then just restart up and carry on. Record volumes of oil to China and India. And yeah, things don't seem to have slowed at all. People find a way round. In Italy, are you aware that this is going on? Meloni is to privately inform Biden of Italy's plans to break with China. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni hopes to build up a relationship with Joe Biden by pledging to break relationships with China. Meloni plans to exit China's Belt and Road Initiative. This is, of course, suicide for Italy. It makes absolutely no sense. I can't imagine the people of Italy are very happy about it. And at a time of economic instability, why would you not be looking for more support, more partners? But I have to say, in this picture, let's just take a moment to look at the money goblin and how he's licking his lips and looking at Mr. Money Daddy Joe Biden there. It's quite a scene. Also, Jens Stoltenberg looks like he's been photoshopped in, or when the photo's been taken, someone said there's a sauna open to the right, and he's just whipped his head right round. I can't even mention Rishi Sunak; it's too much. Russia-Africa summits, early info. Okay, the summit is attended by 49 delegations of African countries. Vladimir Putin supporting the African Union's initiative to become a fully fledged member of the G20. Earlier, Xi Jinping also supported the inclusion of the African Union into the G20. I wonder who's going to get booted for that. Germany. Relations between Russia and African countries are steadily developing. Trade turnover with Egypt increased by almost 36%, with Morocco by 4.5%, with South Africa decretion, and with Algeria, mutual trade in 2021 in value terms amounted to 3 billion. So things are looking quite good. And guess who's there? Everyone's favourite celebrity, Mr. Yevgeny Prigozhin, saying hello to the big African dudes. I'm sure they love him. Wagner's very liked in Africa. Amazing scenes, absolute scenes. Even the maid can't bear to look at it. Bud Light maker to lay off hundreds of US corporate staff after sales slump. Anheuser-Busch, whose Bud Light sales in the US have recently declined due to a controversial ad featuring a transgender, will lay off hundreds of corporate staff. Let's expect to see another teary video of said transgender complaining that he hasn't been phoned in the aftermath of, I think, about 12 billion in loss now from Bud Light following his flouncing around in a bath with a bikini on. Amazing that people can think about themselves when they've caused the destruction of the livelihood for hundreds, if not thousands of people. But hey ho, who am I to talk about it? I'm just a woman who doesn't wear clothes in the bath. Currencies to rise soon. ASEAN currencies to rise soon. Chinese yuan helping. Malaysia, Indonesia, Thai, and Philippines all appreciating against the dollar by the end of 2023. That's not going to make America feel good. And in Europe, they are hiking the interest rates, which we should all have expected after what the Fed did earlier this week. And again, just like America, we're all living in credit. We're all unable to afford even life, and now they're charging us more, even for borrowing money. China has loaned some money to Pakistan, and it has notably been on a much easier and better deal than that the IMF has loaned, which has negotiations dragged out over 8 months, which is very difficult when your country's in the pits. So lots of conversations about how streamlined that was, how easy it was, and how less reliant on stipulations politically that was. Mr. Putin reveals his intentions for Africa. The grain deal, cooperation between African countries in energy and education. Over the next 3-4 months, Russia will supply grain to Africa for free. Moscow supported the African Union's initiative to become the G20. Industrial zone will be established near the Suez Canal. Branches of leading Russian universities and schools are expected to open in Africa. All very positive stuff. Probably going to have to come back with a